Let's get both the 2 Megapops achievement and the No Harvest achievement in a single game using Poppanor. To start off this run, we've got an engineer here and a dart here, and hopefully this setup will enable us to get the money we need in order to plop down a ninja over here so that we will be able to then counter camo balloons. Although we do have a little bit of an issue here, so we may need to go on strong with the engineer. Yeah, that seems to solve the trick. Go on strong first to eradicate the green balloons, and then go from there to eradicate the rest with your current setup. This is much better. Now we can place down our ninja monkey up here, and then we can get with the rest of our strategy. We'll be placing Pat within the space between the ninja monkey and the engineer, but do not worry, he will be able to reach the Poppanor artillery over here. Do you call it mortar or do you call it artillery? Obviously its name is mortar, but sometimes I do mistaken it for artillery. Although it will be an artillery battery at some point. Oh, a sneaky yellow balloon game for our defenses. So let's stick the ninja monkey on strong so that hopefully it's able to target the yellow balloons as well. These tougher balloons are honestly a little bit of a menace at times. So let's put Pat over here. Let's put Pat back here so he's able to slap the Moabs as soon as they come along here. Round 14. Oh, it's going to be the second wave that could catch us off guard. It's the second wave of yellows. Not even this one, but round 15. This is definitely a kicker of a round here. So I'm thinking of just a glue gunner. No upgrades, just a glue gunner. And hopefully it's able to slow down the strongest, most balloons to give us enough time in order to pop all of these. And that's going to be oh, damn it. Always one sneaky red balloon catches us off guard. Or for the engineer to first. That seems to do the trick actually, because he was able to catch off anything that would have gone this way anyways. At the end of round 16, we are now able to afford our Mortar Monkey over here, placing perfectly up here so that we have as much space in this little square as we possibly can. I mean, we've only got a little square to contest with, and I've disabled removal of removables. Slow fire rate, not always going to hit the target in which you want it to hit, and only does 2 damage per shell, although it definitely is a buff from what it used to be, which is just 1 damage per shell. So now we can have a little bit more flexibility with this particular tower, regardless of which crosspath you go along. Plus 1 damage was a much needed boost for this otherwise really random tower. Bigger blast so that our pops are more likely to hit an intended target along its cursor, I mean. Yes, we're going to go top path with its cross path here so we can get more damage. Black balloons are going to be a bit of an issue here. Hopefully none of them sneak through. In the early game, we're going to sacrifice a lot of pops here, but in the late game, that's also going to be a little bit of an issue as well when it comes to pops. It's like, and the 4 to 5 balloons are going to make their way over here as well. So I'm not too sure if I should go Perishing Potions or just keep the Alchemist as a 4-0-0. I want you to take the gambit and go the risk of stripping fortifies off non-Moab class balloons so that we can get that bit more damage going from the mortar for a longer period of time. Oh, we can actually afford a rapid reload at this point. My bad. I should have gotten that earlier. Now we've got this issue here with the regrows. I think one of these corners would be better rather than the start, but the start is just nice to start off with. That's round 26 done. Now round 27. This one should be a bit easier. And once the yellow balloons come out, that's where we're going to initiate the oh, we've got heavy shells now. Lovely. Which means black balloons will no longer be a problem for us. So kaiju power enabling for wonderful mortars to pop through all of the layers of a yellow balloon. So now, heavy shells. So what this does essentially is enable our shells to now ignore the explosive property immunity of the black balloon, but it also means we do extra damage to ceramics, leads, and fortifies, which also includes fortified metal class balloons as well. I do want to go artillery battery next, but camos are going to be a bit of an issue later on, so I'm going to get cleansing foam, and then that means that the ninja monkey is not the only tower that we have that can actually damage and pop them, because it alone cannot handle the yellow balloon onslaught on round 33. Camos, hopefully we'll be able to put up enough foams. It's mainly the red balloons which are a bit of a worry when it comes to the amount of foams, but we did just fine there. Have you all seen footage of the Nordic Siege Core yet by YouTubers that are able to get early access to update 41? Honestly, when it comes to its nuke attack, I love it, but I also don't really like it as well because of its insanely long cooldown that you need to do in order to actually utilize it. And its power is a little bit underwhelming because you can't pop a fortified bad on round 140 with the ability itself. You think if you're waiting for 15 seconds, you're gonna have a little bit of hindsight as to when you initiate it, and you need some supporting towers like Balloon Sabos and Absolute Zero to slow down the balloons in order to actually initiate the ability itself. So it's a bit hit and miss, honestly, but I just love the submarine tower in general. It's one of my favorite towers in the game, honestly. It's so versatile and usable. The only time it's not really usable is when a map doesn't have water on it. Round 39, we've got ourselves our artillery battery, and things are looking very rapid when it comes to our rate of fire. But the next question is, what shall we get next? I honestly think we should get a village next to provide our artillery battery with camo detection. Combine both abilities together, first shell gets more damage by 1 for the moment. I think it's like 2 or 3 with the enhanced rallying roar when Pat gets to level 14. I don't know, I don't keep up to date with the statistics of what does what. All I know is when you activate this, it does stuff. And in this case, it enables more damage. Damn it, I forgot about the village. Yeah, well, that was embarrassing. I could have afforded a radar scanner for the previous round. Not to worry. So what shall we get next? I'm thinking an alchemist next to enhance the power of each shell, but because it's the middle path, it's not always going to be active on our mortar here, and especially when we have overclock up and running. Speaking of the overclock, we don't need that foam anymore. Yeah, fortified ceramics, not a big issue because I think it does bonus damage and it stacks because of the fact that it's both a ceramic and a fortified balloon. So those fortified balloons, they're not going to be as tanky as they normally would be because we have properties that enables us to do bonus damage to both types of balloons, along with leads, and being able to pop black balloons and zebras. No, I mean zebra balloons, not zebras in general. We do not condone cruelty to animals on this channel here, despite the fact that we're always obliterating balloons, but they are only made of helium and whatever material the balloon is made out of. Let's now arm ourselves with the 420 Alchemist to enhance our artillery batteries' firepower. This is round 49 and nothing is making it past below the cursor. That just shows you how much potential this particular tower has. So we're going to slow it down. We're going to enable both abilities. You know what we're seeing right now? Well, when we get Popinor, this is what's just going to happen all of the time. Combine both abilities together and it will make light work of the Moabs. And I hope it'll make light work for BFB as well. Let's get ourselves the wonderful overclock soon. Very soon. Hopefully. I'm just going to put you on close so that you target as few balloons as possible. Hopefully. I hope that's how that goes. Don't try Bob's so far away. Let's see. There might be a bad time to use the rallying roar because now other things are getting more pops as they... well, more than they would normally get. Overclock now activated. Now the only downside when we're going to go to Popinor is that the base attack will not always have overclock. So there's more of a thing that you need to time very well in order to not waste potential of the overclock itself. Last little Moab of the round. We now have how much more percentage of rate of fire when overclock is activated? Someone told me 60%, which is a big buff. A big temporary buff if you ask me. Now, if anybody ever says that overclock is not a good supporting tower for Team Megapops, we're going to have a word here. Overclock is one of the best supporting towers. Yes, it's like over 15,000 to put the tower together, but that extra attack speed, that is so worth it. Once you have your setup going, the only button you're really pressing is tab, unless you have your set target shortcut to a different different button. But honestly, the only button you're always really selecting is tab. I know some of my placements for my cursor is not very good, but I'm trying to think ahead. I'm looking at that Moab rather than all these fortified ceramics. I need to think of both, because I need to be a perfectionist at this game according to some people. And my response is, I want to be just good enough to get 2 Megapops with this tower on this map with these restrictions. Let's see, BFB. We just completely and utterly incinerated that BFB and the insides of it without it having any kind of hope in order to get through there. A sweet 10 out of 10, rated by Flare Balloons, yours truly. But the Moabs are making their way very far in here. They're gonna steal some pops. Yeah, some of this middle game is gonna be very dicey. I'm not going to lie. I want to get Poppinor as soon as possible now that we've got our Alchemist and our Overclock on board. But it's just a matter of trying to get to that point without succumbing too much to insane boredom or my left hand becoming numb from pressing tab too many times. Please get rid of you. I'd like to be able to go up the map while the ability is still active. Oh gosh, the ability is now not active, but the fortified status is not helping it as much as it normally would because of our bonus damage to fortified balloons. Honestly, such a great feature to add on this, because there isn't a huge amount in the game, honestly, that enables you to have bonus damage against fortified balloons. There's Adora's level ups as well that enables her to do bonus damage against fortified balloons. But off the top of my head, there's not a huge amount else that can do that. Surround 63, gosh. Yellow balloons are honestly the bane of my existence. Somehow, they just ignore our shells, and I do not know why. Just use the ability for the last ceramics. I do not care. Now we've got these. Oh yeah, maybe I should have used this ability while we're on this round, especially the fortified Moabs. They're gonna make it very far onto there. It's just especially annoying, isn't it now? That's right, slap them back, Pat. Show them who is the biggest and the strongest. 10k away until we can afford the Poppinor. Now the question is, can we get Poppinor? If you're looking forward to update 41, then please be sure to subscribe to the channel so that you will be notified of any future videos that I do on the channel, alongside some stuff including update 41 with the Nordic Siege Core, and probably some gameplay of Sulphur Springs as well. It's a very interesting map, honestly. Lots of roundabouts on it, which makes it very interesting for a particular 2 Megapop scenario. I'm not looking at any particular upgrades in general. I have a question for you asking. What do you think is the most controversial change Ninja Kiwi has made to Balloons Tower Defense 6? I was about to say, what's the most controversial change that Ninja Kiwi has made to Ninja Kiwi? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not an insider. I do not know the ins and outs of the company. All I know is that I like their games, and I like Balloons Tower Defense. I'm not the biggest fan of the Battles 2 scenario, I'm not a big fan of competing against other players. I've always preferred playing against AI, just because you're playing against a preset set difficulty, whereas if you're playing against other people, the difficulty is random, and it feels like there's a lot of unpredictability involved, especially if the other player knows exactly what they're doing, and me being a doofus, I have no idea what I'm doing. Even in this scenario, I'm just kind of guessing these things, because maybe I should have gotten a Poppinor before getting the Alchemist, or anything along those lines. Because if we didn't get the Alchemist, then we would be able to get Popinor by about now. But we haven't, and that might have been a stupid take by me, but we're rolling with it. Myself, if I was given the question of what's the most controversial change Ninja Kiwi has made, honestly, I think it was back in Update 33 where they decided to put a limit onto how many Paragons you can put on the field. Because I think from Ninja Kiwi's perspective, they want unique synergies with the Paragons. But I'm like, you can still have the unique synergies, but you've included a change which affects every single mode, and that change is irreversible because of the fact that, well, you can only deploy 3 Paragons on the track. And then as time went on, Ninja Kiwi saw the feedback from the community, and they decided to only include the limit in boss events, which is honestly the best way of implementing it. You're including it as a challenge in a challenging event, rather than just everything in free play being the same regardless. So regardless if you're on deflation, obviously you can't afford a Paragon in deflation, or if you are on, let's say, chimps, like you can afford it in chimps, just not within the first 100 rounds or so. But I honestly think that setting a limit to how many Paragons you can have on the field is honestly more constricting than rewarding. Obviously, it means that each Paragon has more value because you can deploy a certain amount of them, but I honestly think that it's ultimately for the better by not having a limit in free play bases. As you can tell, I don't have the ability active. That's just how psycho this tower is. Look at how many of them we're firing off. It's a fully auto machine gun, except our belt has an unlimited amount of firepower. Yeah, with Overclock, we're just basically taking out the BFBs without any sort of hassle whatsoever. End of round 75, let's use Pat's ability. Our next challenge is actually going to get the Homeland Defense. Yes, I said Homeland Defense. We're not just going to settle with call to arms, because I don't think we can produce enough shells to take out the bad with just the Popinor in mind. Because with Popinor, it's actually the best of the mortars when it comes to damage against the bad, because this thing also does bonus damage against bads, but also bosses as well. But when you think of bonus damage against the boss of the game, you wouldn't think that that would be applied to a tower that has like insignificant per shell damage output, but something that is just stupidly fast when it fires. Like, what would you think would be a tower that would benefit from that much greatly? I don't know, a true sun god, something that you would obviously put down against a boss. Round 78, what can we do here? We hear the sound of ceramics being popped, but no ceramics ever appeared below. This seems absolutely nuts against ceramics. Oh, but there's always the loose little ceramic that's going to... Pink balloon, you're just so off-putting. How dare you? Just micromanage the targeting cursor. Can it go below his point with the ceramic camos? Nope, none of them appeared south. I did at one point think about just keeping it as a 2-2-0 village and then pursue Ultra Boosts, but I'm like, you're only going to be able to use Ultra Boost 3 times around, and Homeland Defense is just much more consistent than Ultra Boost. Just leaves the fortified BFBs of the round, which should be an absolute piece of cake here. Yeah, there goes the first one now. The second one, let's just speed this up a little bit. I don't like to keep on fast forward for too long because Mortar is an incredibly micromanaging intensive tower to utilize very well. We do have I was about to say the bad there, but we have the ZMG here. So use the ability, do a little bit more damage, and let's use Pat's Rallying Roar, and gosh, the ZMG and its insides did not make it to the bottommost part of the map. This thing is absolutely cracked. Normal speed gameplay is absolutely riveting, but it is necessary for a tower like the Mortar. Let's use both abilities now and see what we can do against all of this. Let's just let the excess use of the ability stun and pop the ceramics that spawn out. That was such a good combo, actually. Rallying Roar with the Popinor ability. Oh, we can afford Call to Arms. I've just realized the amount of money that we have. Awesome. Just fantastic. Round 83, a bunch of ceramics. We will have to do some slowing down for when the Moabs spawn out here, just simply because of their annoyance, honestly. I don't trust them. Is that all of them gone? I think so. I only hear ceramics being popped. Don't be popped, please. Don't you escape me. You cannot escape me and my shells. Call to Arms. That's Rallying Roar. Awesome. It also means that we can attack 50% more balloons if we do not have the PS otherwise to get the extra balloons. So yeah, Homeland Defense, that's our next financial goal. Will we be able to get it? Obviously, we were able to get Call to Arms, so what's another 43,200 gonna do to hurt us? Actually, we should put our mouse over here so we can target both ZMGs at any given point in time. I don't want to waste those shells after all. Oh, there goes down the first COMG. Like, we have a much better time against, like, just delivering raw damage against the balloons with Popinor than we can with the biggest one. But the biggest benefit to it, the biggest benefits with the biggest one is that both stun and its huge blast radius are a factor over the Popinor. If you can combine the raw damage of bottom path, the attack speed of the middle path, and the blast radius and stun properties of the top path, you're going to have yourself a mighty Mortar Paragon. I honestly don't think that the Mortar Paragon will be anytime soon. I think it might be one of the last ones to be introduced by Ninja Kiwi, because honestly I think something else will come along next when it comes to the military class ones, although I have been wrong before, especially with my initial case of the special operations being impossible to get to Megapops on. It's only down to a Marine that thing can possibly do it. Although someone might prove me wrong by doing a Marine-less special operations to Megapops. Alchemist at 328, Ninja at 1100, Kaiju Pad at 1400, Engineer at 1600. Well, that's not too surprising because of deconstruction. So yeah, we have ourselves a lovely time on our hands here. Now then, let's do Overclock, Rallying Roar, and Call to Arms. And then after that, we're going to be doing a wonderful Popinor ability. And they will just go down like that. Beautiful. I think the best change to a Popinor upgrade is its attack speed being a permanent artillery battery ability unleashed. Just so many mortar shells. Honestly, when I first read those patch updates, I was thinking, why is everyone calling this thing a buff? It's clearly having less attack speed and it does less bonus damage against certain types of balloons. But I was like, oh, there's an extra 0 after the decimal. Well, I'm so dumb, aren't I? Just these ZOMGs left of round 88. Can we do it without using the ability? I hope so, but I think we honestly need to use it. I don't want many balloons getting up here unless it absolutely has to be the case. Like with the bat, for example. Yeah, this is going to be a massive issue here. These goddamn fortified Moabs, even though we do bonus damage against fortified balloons, it is not enough to try and get through this scenario. And we're going to have a lot of steals on this round. And honestly, until we get Homeland Defense, there's going to be many more rounds where we're going to have lots of steals. Steals as in other towers getting the pops and not the Popinor. Our first encounter against DDTs, how are we going to fare? Well, it's going to be a bit of a tricky time when it comes to round 95. But I honestly think we can do it if we can get our Popinor ability timing down correctly. So with these first few DTs, honestly not an issue whatsoever. And even with the fortified DTs, it's not going to be an issue because of the number of them. With round 95, 30 DDTs on that round. It's honestly an onslaught and a half to try and keep up with all that. 9k away from homeland defense, and honestly these fortified balloons are providing us with a huge amount of trouble here. Like, we can't physically pop all of them, and even when we can get them under control with, let's say, one of these abilities, I don't want to, but I kind of need to hold out with the Poppinor ability as long as possible. So let's say now possibly, so that it can affect the ZMGs, and we can get to working with popping all these other fortified Moabs. Yeah, that seemed to do the trick there, although there's even more of them. Oh, this round has so many fortified Moabs, and there's so many steals here. Quarter Arms and Rallying Roar, please kick in to pop these ZMGs. Kick in with the BFBs. It's just not enough. They keep making their way too far up north. There's so many steals there. Oh, I hate it when that happens. Let's see. Making their way into the 5 digits of steals. Hopefully that's not going to be a thing for too much longer when we get homeland defense. Got these DDTs to take care of. So there's 6 of them this round. Yeah, 6 of them this round. Hone in on that when that's a thing. Please keep on doing damage, but the ability does not last long enough to try and utilize for the rest of the round here. So many stolen pops! I refuse to stick with Quarter Arms and go for other things like Moab Glues for the moment, because honestly, I want this to work. I want this to work. I know it can work, because I feel the force, okay? I know it will work. I'm not here for the most straightforward path to victory. Sometimes I like the weird and wacky paths, because they're more interesting than the straightforward, boring paths, or the more predictable paths, or anything along those lines. Let's use it now. Let's get these Moabs grinded down, and then go back towards the lovely ZMGs over here. I mean, I hate the ZMGs. What am I talking about here? Need to time this as late as possible, honestly. Well, obviously that was bad timing. Even though the Poppinor abilities were active, the ceramics were still able to move. Yeah, I honestly had bad overclock timing because this is not active when the DDTs initially come out. Can we do it this time? Hopefully we can, but knowing this game, it likes to kick me while I'm dead. Whoa, they were too close there. Can we do it now? Please, DDTs, no more for... Oh, you have to spawn. You have to spawn. You have to spawn. You have to exist for more than you should do. And because we don't have any abilities, it means all these ceramics will just fly on through our shells. Sometimes round 96 is worse than round 98 because of the timing of when the Moabs appear. Sometimes DMGs being very back is a huge problem. 8,000, 10,000, 13,000, 18,000. Yeah, that's a lot of steals right there. That is a lot of stolen potential right there. Let's use these as late as possible so we can get them on round 97 against these ZMGs. Because fortified ZMGs, like ZMGs, but twice as tough. So can we make use of both of these abilities against... Sort of. Honestly, sort of. Can we use the stun of Relentless Glue to hold back the ceramics here? But it's just the amount of globs that we can shoot out with this particular crossbar. That's the only worry here. There's still that fact there. I really need these abilities for round 98. That's the only thing that's gotten me a little bit fractious at the moment with this run, is that we need them for round 98. And because we had Homeland Defense and Rallying Roar active at the beginning of the round, it means that if we retry this, then we don't get that bonus damage, which is honestly, oh my goodness sakes, I hate that. Now we're only going to use Balloon Sabo once the Poppinor ability is inactive, because that'll be wasted potential having them both active at the same time. Nope, they're traveling too far again, and they're getting more steals even under the influence of Homeland Defense, unleashing more shells of hell. Shells of hell. I like that, actually. I hope that's within the Mortar Paragon's description, Shells of Hell. Okay, things are looking very well so far. We used Popinor earlier on in the round so that we can actually, you know, minimize the travel progression of the ZMGs, and that's sort of worked out honestly. None of the balloons have made their way over here, although there is still a big amount of BFBs there. And we still have ourselves a bit of an annoyance when it comes to all these stolen pops, but I think we should be able to do it. I honestly think we're close enough to our pop count here in order to do all of this. I don't want to use any more abilities. Mainly the Popinor ability. I want that for round 99 because we need all of the stalling that we can against these fortified DDTs. Speaking of the buggers, let's now deal with these buggers, alright? Ye old British style, ye old white mate. Right. Now we do that. Hopefully we slow them down enough. Perhaps we should have used Balloon Saber later on in the round, but I don't care. No. Somehow they've all just sped up tremendously, and I don't like that. But at least those ceramics have suddenly not become all invincible. Do that to begin our triumphant journey. This is our fight. Not just your fight, Kaiju. This is our fight. Oh, we're now down to the fin. Lovely. And we, can we stall this out for as long as we can? Because I don't want the bad to be popped within the square. I want as much time as possible so that we can actually do this. Let's see now. As soon as I hear that bad being popped, we're going to activate the ability. There we go. And then we're going to do the other things here. I wish that was not in the way, honestly. Probably a bad usage of that. And bloody hell, look at that. 2,016,000. Honestly, thought we were going to get much less. All my complaint earlier, largely gone out the window in some ways. So that was a really awesome attempt there. Popinor, 2 Megapops. Also, no harvest on Cornfield. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Popinor, 2 Megapops on Cornfield without any single grains of corn removed from the field. PWP. I don't know why I was thinking that spelled Popinor. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you're excited for update 41. I'm not one of those people that have been granted early access to the game, but hopefully one day that might be a reality rather than just a dream. Thank you so much for watching and take care of yourselves, everybody.